There you go.
Oh, we closed that out.
You just needed to open it back up.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, we didn't do that. All right.
There you go.
Okay, we're recording.
All right.
Yeah. Now, this simply means that you have to go back and read those sections I just read to you. How's that? I didn't hear anything from those folks. All right. Are you with us? Okay.
I'm with you. I can hear you. Am I still on my head?
Yeah. Okay. We're good. We're good. All right. This is kind of what I want us to talk about tonight. Metaphysics is unity's theology. It's the science of God or religion. It's the science which treats the existence, the character, the attributes of God. I love this. His laws, his laws and government, the doctrines we're supposed to believe. Anyway, and yet we spend a lot of time discussing and talking about the trappings of religion.
In unity we do?
People.
People do.
Oh, yeah.
In culture, yeah.
Yeah, in culture.
My religion's better than your religion and all that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and why not? It probably happens within unity. We get talking about the latest book we've read and what so and so says.
Your traditional, only Fillmore said it. Viewpoint race talked about that.
Yeah.
It's easier than talking about who am I.
It's easier than talking about who am I or what am I. We don't talk about what we are.
Well, it makes it vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Trust.
I can hear Glenn okay, but I can't hear the other people.
Oh.
So we just need to talk louder.
Okay. We're going to try and talk louder. Okay?
I'm going to put earbuds on. That might help too.
Okay. All right. We don't really talk about ourselves because we're vulnerable. Okay, I want you to think about that. Because a little bit ago I read about oneness. Oneness with whom? And yet we feel vulnerable.
I think it's easier to look at oneness on a spiritual level, that our hearts and our souls are connected and coming from the same place, than to put ourselves out there in our humanness, because in our humanness, even though we're one, we're all different in our human state, and that's the part that feels vulnerable when we let people too close. So, yeah, I absolutely see, understand, experience oneness with all things spiritually in my soul. But, you know, it's a little bit different to put myself out there when I'm talking about my human foibles or the things that I'm struggling with, or, you know, to let people know what I believe to be too much about me or what I've gone through or that kind of thing. That's where the vulnerability comes in.
Any you folks that are comfortable sitting at home, you have any thoughts?
Well, I think it's especially vulnerable when you're in a position, you know, like Robin or like you or like Ray, because you all are spiritual leaders. You shouldn't have any issues. So how much more vulnerable would, you know, do you feel sharing your humanness then?
And for me, the greatest spiritual teachers are those that are vulnerable. those that show their humanness.
Yes.
You know, for me, I love what Paul wrote about that. I really appreciate it deeply. You know, I love woo-woo. I mean, you can't get any more woo-woo than me. I love UFOs and angels and archangels and metaphysics. I mean, you know, I can go out there with you all day long. But ultimately, it can be just a block. You know, it can be an excuse. It can be a way for me to retain victim consciousness by saying, oh, well, in this lifetime I didn't take on a lot of money, or in this lifetime I didn't take that on or that on. It can be a real block for me. So when I think about what am I, or, you know, I don't mind using the word who in that spiritual way, but it's not problem consciousness. I am not a problem. I am not the problems in my life, and I can use those problems very clearly to see my blocks, and they are vast, but it's not who I am. It's not my spiritual identity, and I strive every moment daily to retain consciousness of that spiritual identity, and so, you know, it can be quite the on a good day, it can be entertainment when I don't involve myself in that directly and get swept away with it.
Yeah, good. Good comments. Anyone?
I think for me, I don't know what it is about the whole vulnerability thing that I just kind of, I don't know. I don't kind of get it, I guess, because I was the youngest in my family, and we were poor, and we were always made fun of, and had James as my brother, and everything was right out there, and I guess all the mistakes and everything that happened was always so publicized. So it's hard for me to relate to people that just don't open up, I guess. And they think I'm too open. So it leaves me kind of feeling like trying to find a balance, you know.
Did Donna, did you say you were the youngest?
Yeah.
You have older brothers?
Yeah, I have 2 brothers and an older sister.
Okay.
And I'm the youngest. So yeah, and I mean, like I say, you know, I followed in their footsteps going to school, and we were the country kids, and Mom made our clothes, so we were the poor ones, and we were the ones everybody made fun of. And then, you know, with having James with a brother, or as a brother, you know, that was, everybody knew who you were from that. And so I guess I got used to people knowing all those things and making fun of you, and it made me, vulnerability doesn't, I mean, maybe that's very odd, maybe I'm too much the other way, but it doesn't seem to bother me to be vulnerable. Now, rejection, on the other hand, you know, that's a little harder to deal with, and that, I guess, comes from being vulnerable. But at the same time, you know, I have a hard time because people just don't seem to want to open up, and that's hard for me to relate to.
Yeah. Melvin, you said something. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, we live in a material world, but I'm not near as concerned about who I am as I used to be, because I try to see myself as a verb, but not a noun. You know, I am my thoughts, my actions, my words.
Okay.
And,
You see yourself as a verb, not a noun.
well,
That's a good way to put it. Absolutely.
That is good.
Yeah. Well, you know.
who I am physically, it doesn't much matter.
Okay. But it sure is matters to a lot of people outside this building.
Well, it helps me not to be as concerned.
Okay.
And that's who I am. My thoughts, words, and actions.
Of late, I've really been pondering this whole concept of oneness. When I first
How do you define it? I mean, to me, it's equal regard or
it's okay.
with
We're okay.
tolerance.
Oneness with God. When I first started attending Unity, I saw myself, and I'll go back and use the God word. I saw us as co-creating. And of late, I'm thinking more of a merger. I don't have all the answers. I'm still pondering and processing all of this.
Won't we always be?
I
mean,
I hope so. I hope so. I hope we will always. That was one of the very first things that I remember a Unity minister telling the group that I was in, that Charles Fillmore encouraged us to study and to ask questions. And I thought, whoa, is this different from my fundamental background? And so, yes, I go right along with that. Continue to study, ask questions, continue to ponder. But for me personally, I'm looking at more of a merger, if that's the right word. I'm not sure.
To me, it's not an arrival. It's the journey.
That's right.
We talk about oneness with God, but I don't believe in a God as a person. That's what Unity teaches, and that's what helps me be in Unity. But I see God as the interconnection of all life, and that we are a part of that interconnection. And the word omnipotence as power often is defined as dominion or other ways, but I see that as omnipotence, that we really are the interconnection of all life. No one's left out.
Absolutely. No one is left out.
Very true. It's sad.
I used to picture the oneness like they would say about being a drop of the ocean, and how the drop is all on its own, but yet it's part of the same ocean. But then I had the thought that it's kind of, to me, it's even kind of more like light. Like if you turn on a light in this room and a light in that room, where the lights connect, you can't tell one light from another light. It's just all light. So I kind of think that it's kind of a oneness like that, like physically and metaphorically. I guess what we're made up of is all a part of God, which is like all light, all the same light. And I guess being human and going through the things we go through in life, if you look for sameness in people, you come to find out that everybody kind of goes through. Everybody has heartache, and everybody has loss, and everybody, has hurt, and has times that they get embarrassed, and, So to me, that's all combined in oneness.
Absolutely. Good thoughts. Good thoughts, you all.
Donna, I used to use that same ocean metaphor, that I'm like a drop in the ocean. Everything that's in the ocean is also me. But I changed it, because you can take a drop out of the ocean and remove it, and it can be separate. So now, instead of being a drop in the ocean, I think of myself as a wave in the ocean, because you can't remove the wave from the ocean.
That's why I like the light also, because you can't separate the light. Once it's on, it's all blends together. Yeah.
Gwen, I think I've shared this with you before. I had that unbelievable experience snorkeling on the Great Barrier Reef. And I understood oneness, not in my head at all, but in my heart. I felt it instantly when I saw these magnificent multicolored fish and this wave of love overcame me. And in my heart, I felt, I get it. I really get it. I'm part of you, beautiful fish, and you are part of me and every drop of this water around us. We are all one. And even though my words can't describe it, my heart totally felt it.
Sure. Wow. Looks vital.
Yeah, that's,
Vital to who we are.
I very much understand where you're coming from, Carla. Yes.
Well, Thomas Merton, he was a force in walnut when he discovered that.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to go see that plaque. I've not read it. You know, I know I've been by it many times.
Interesting. Okay, Carla felt that the Great Barrier Reef, you felt it in your heart. You knew exactly. I've had a couple of experiences in the last couple of years where I've had an opportunity to travel, and the same thing happened. Then we come home, Carla. We come home. And
as we get that, as deeply as you understand it, in those moments, trying to go back and analytically understand it with my mind does not work.
And we're back to being vulnerable again. Interesting.
Well, and I think it's true, at least for me, I know it is, that when I have those experiences, and for me, I think that my biggest experiences of experiencing oneness were in the actual oneness training and some of the processes we did. But once I have that feeling, and then I go home, I try and find places where I can recreate and have that feeling again, because it's so amazing and wonderful and transcends everything. And you're right. Then you go home and you do the laundry. So, what would be wonderful is if I could figure out a way to have that experience and that feeling of oneness in my heart while I'm doing the laundry. That would be the ideal. That it just is the way it is.
Is that gratitude, Rob?
Part of it is gratitude, yes. But I think it's for me, it's more than that.
I mean, being grateful for the soap butter, the clothes, the washing,
Yeah.
the whole electric, and I mean, just keep it going. How fortunate we are.
But most of that, I have to say, all of that gratitude that I feel is not really a feeling. It's here, and I have trouble getting it from here to
From
here.
the head to the heart, 18 inches.
Because laundry
That's
can
why
be a
84
spiritual
people
practice if you do it. in that
Yes,
manner.
yes, it can. And Carla and I both have a mutual friend, and I don't know if you ever recall Charlie talking about washing dishes and how the whole experience is, he approaches it very mindfully. And when he first shared this, I'm thinking, I'm just putting those suckers in that dishwasher, you know. And the more he talked about it, the more I kind of went back and I thought, okay, slow down and think about it. When we can get out of the physical aspect of the intellect and more into the heart, gosh, we may have just changed you totally. You may rush home, Robin, and be folding laundry.
It's possible. It
Yeah.
could happen.
This was a discussion before you all joined us about laundry.
King
Okay.
Solomon knew this 3,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Guard our hearts, for from it, all of the issues of life. Not some of them, all of them.
Exactly. Exactly. Anybody else
One of the
share something?
I have trouble too getting things from my head to my heart. It's like I know them intellectually, but it's that journey. One of the things that helps me, and a friend of mine pointed it out, is to really try to experience all of your emotions. You know, find something that just really makes you bust out laughing, and you know, another movie that might be a real tearjerker. And just, you know, just try to really experience that whole gamut of feelings and emotions, and that helps, at least that helps me to then open my heart center, and it makes that journey a little too much sometimes.
Yeah, a really excellent point. Excellent point. I don't have the suggestions for each of you. It's something we have to find ourselves. Jenny, you've had to find that. You've taken the suggestion from your friend. You're working on it, and that's what we need to do. But more and more, I am finding that it's not too difficult to, don't want to use the word remove myself from the physical world and not get caught up in all this stuff going around. And I just kind of mentally step back and look at it.
Yeah, boy,
And
Decker says it makes who wins the ball game tonight.
yes, you know, and it's when we get caught up in those physical things around us. Yeah, yeah. And there's a lesson. There's a lesson in all of this for us. It's individual, of course, but to kind of, you know, if you can go through your life with that mindfulness attitude, then things start to make sense. And then we're not maybe quite as vulnerable to those forces. I don't know. We will continue to find out.
Well, I'm on a journey. I've certainly not arrived anywhere, but what happened over the weekend, I mean, I just took it in stride. It didn't really upset me. All the storm damage, you know, couldn't get out my drive, got the car hung up. You know, it's just, that's life, you know. Still got a mess, but it's okay. A few years ago, I had 6. No comparison.
I very much can identify with what you're saying, Melvin. Yeah.
You know, I hated to lose trees. I mean, 100-year-old trees.
Right.
In my lifetime.
But it's pretty much the way we're raised. We're to take care of those physical tasks. We have jobs to do. If there's a windstorm, I know my family's nature. I don't know about you, Carla. You grew up on the farm in rural. Got to get out there and clean that mess up, you know. Always, you know. And we get caught up in the physical thing that we have to do. All right. Now, I'm gonna stop here just for a minute. You guys have had wonderful, wonderful comments. You all, wonderful comments. This is the best reason to take classes. We're safe. We aren't vulnerable. Nobody's gonna attack us. And you've shared some really profound, heartfelt things, which have started the wheels turning in the rest of us. So if anybody ever wants to know why you take classes, probably all you can say is kind of like what Carla said. You just had to be there to experience it.
I mean, I'm very comfortable with all of you, but I would still like more guys.
Okay, well, I'm not going to make promises.
I mean,
Anyway,
we're talking about, Helen Keller. I just really admire her. She said Christianity was a sign of love. And you get away from that, I don't understand any of it.
it's interesting that you just mentioned that because I was, let's do this. Do you all want to take a break? If you, because we can just continue on and then wrap up a little bit early. Okay. It's interesting that you brought up the quote about Helen Keller because we were going to take a break and then I wanted to share something with you. And it was what I mentioned in our Quest class Sunday. Carla, you're a big soul, what is it? Oh gosh, Oprah's show on Sunday. Did you see the interview with Maya Angelou?
Yes, the two-parter.
Okay, and I don't know what this was because I had to watch it. It was part of a clip on from a Unity church, but it was where she gave a little brief background of how she got into Unity with her mentor, introduced her. But anyway, what she was talking about, he made her say, I don't know how many times, God loves you. And when she's talking to Oprah, at first it was just matter of fact, God loves you. God loves you. The more she said it, the more her voice softened. And by the end, she was kind of doubled over and very emotional because it really hit her. God loves me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really kind of been that to me is what oneness is. And anymore, instead of thinking in terms of the name God, I think of God and love being one and the same, one and the same. And it's not just for me, it's from me to others. Yeah, so what's your thought about love? You don't know, I'm looking at you four up there. So you're going to be on the spot since you're so far away. Talk to us about love.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay. So I really like what you said, Gwen, that God is love. That part I can get, and it's not like God has love or God gives love, but God is love. I get that. That part I get. For me, I oftentimes love for the sake of wanting something in return. I'm just aware of it. It's not like I think that's good or right, but I'm aware of that. And so I think that's an attachment. And I don't think that's pure love. But I'm aware of it, that that's what happens.
Good, good.
For me, the last few years, I've become much more aware of the frequency that love holds. I'm looking for that in the world, balancing it between love with inner peace versus love with joy, and being more aware of noticing when I'm feeling fearful or out of love and trying to move back into that frequency, that vibration of being in love. And sometimes it's almost like painful when I realize I'm out of that and I want to get back to it all the time.
Yep.
I know they always talk about how you can't love someone else if you don't love yourself. And, you know, sometimes that can be a hard concept because I think that I'm nicer and more loving to other people probably than I am to myself. So that can be sometimes I can feel like it's easier to love other people and be loving towards other people just in general than it is to myself. I don't cut myself as much slack or grace as I give them, I guess. So that can get, I don't know why, it just gets confusing.
Good.
But I like, yeah, sorry.
No, I didn't.
I like seeing God as love too. I can relate very much to that.
That's where I've been coming from lately. It's more I don't like the word impersonal, but I believe that God is impartial love. And I believe that when we operate on that frequency, that love heals at the cellular level. Love heals on every level. And it's that bigger love that I've been thinking more about lately. That universal, impartial, no matter who you are or what you've done, and you cannot be separated from it, but you can be of a different vibration from it and unable to realize your connection to that ultimate love.
Yep. Hey, Donna.
Yeah.
Are we helping
Yes, can you hear me?
your songs?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Karen, you might not know this. Donna's a lyricist. Did I say that right? It has
Yes, you did.
probably her whole life. So hard
Yeah.
to come out of this discussion, huh?
Yeah, it started out as very much a coping mechanism, and then it turned into something that for a long time I kind of resented it because it's like I had to do it. If I didn't do it, I just was lost, and finally I've become physically ill. You know, and now finally I read a book that was really wonderful by another writer named Elizabeth Gilbert, and she wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and she said, you know, instead of being that martyr, you know, that's oh, poor me, I'm a writer, I have this dis-ease, accept it and know that your writing chose you and it loves you more as much as you love it. And that kind of shifted everything for me. And I thought, you know, this is a gift. It's a wonderful thing. And, you know, I need to embrace it. And I've always loved it. I just always felt it deceived me. It wasted my time and it didn't become productive. And, you know, it lost itself from me and found other people that, you know, it went with, and you know, it's like, geez, you know, so it's been a long journey, but I do love it. And yes, this all helps me and makes me think. And I love to think about, you know, love and what love is. And I guess, you know, one thing I was thinking on when you were talking about that was that I think that if there's one thing I can see that, you know, loving others more than feeling like I can show love to others more generously than I can myself makes it hard to, I guess, feel love. I can acknowledge that. I may not feel love as readily as I should. Does that make sense?
Well, is that vulnerability? Is that feeling vulnerable?
Well, I guess, I don't know. Maybe it's undeserving. Maybe it's an unworthiness thing I'm dealing with. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's it. It'll come to me in a song, and I won't even know what it's talking about. I'll have to sing it for 10 years before I get it. So.
Okay.
It's helpful, honestly, to see love not as a feeling, but a decision and a commitment.
All right, did you?
I just can't hear you. I can't hear him talk. His voice is so low, it just goes whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hello?
All right, say that again. It's for you, it's more of a decision. Is that what you said?
Commitment, not a feeling, but out of that decision and commitment, I mean, the feelings come, but it's also somewhat, in other words, said that I don't want, it's not quite that I can only, there's a limited amount of people I can love well.
Okay, from what Melvin is saying, Melvin is still working on this.
Yes. And I can agree with you, Melvin. I feel it. We're supposed to love everybody.
We do, but we can't love, it's impossible to enter into that intimate relationship with them. I mean, there's just not enough time.
I'm not talking about that way, though. So many women, so little time.
No, you misunderstood my word.
No.
That sounds like a song, Donna.
Yeah, yeah.
It does. No, I think back to where I was 10 years ago. I often thought I should have been a lawyer because I think I could line up those reasons that a person was guilty, and I think I was really pretty good at it. And now I think back to some of those situations and I just smile at myself because I obviously didn't know where they were. And I look at them different, look at those people differently now. And I kind of laugh about the whole thing and find myself with, rather than judgmental thoughts, more loving thoughts. And anymore, some things that will happen and some decisions I'll make, it's like all of a sudden I will think, where'd that come from? That's not like you. I think, oh gosh, this is scary business, and move right on. So
it's interesting, Melvin, when you say that, about not being able to have an intimate relationship with a lot of people because there's just not enough time. It started me thinking, I probably had one of the most intimate relationships of my entire life with my former sister-in-law. She knew me better than anybody. She was my best friend. I had a more intimate relationship with her than I did with her brother, to whom I was married, because she didn't have any preconceived notions about how I was supposed to act, what I was supposed to do, what I was supposed to think, any of it. She accepted me for who I was more than I think just about any other time that I have ever known. And
That's wonderful.
It's amazing to me, though, that was the intimate relationship that I was experiencing for that 20-odd years, not her brother, to whom I was married, because, that was just this whole different thing. The intimacy was really about the fact that she knew me at depth more than any other person ever wanted to. And I miss that. I really do. I have not had that kind of a relationship with another person. And part of the reason is that it hurt so badly when she died that I just didn't know if I wanted to open myself up like that again to another person.
Yep.
So, I mean, I get it. There's that kind of depth of relationship I don't know is possible with a lot of people, because it takes, I mean, you really nurture those to make sure that
you're
they're
talking a level of friendship that, time doesn't permit that.
Mm-hmm. And those are the ones that affect you and last forever. You know, even though she's not physically with us any longer, I still consider her to be my best friend.
Sure. But, you know, hopefully I can still have reverence and respect for each person.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
see. I mean, that's, to me, that's, those two words sum up the whole 10 Commandments.
Yeah. And do you think, Robin, that it's hard to, you know, I think those type of people that you connect to like that can be very few and far between. I mean, you can have what feels to be intimate personal relationships with people where you can discuss, you know, deep subjects, but to connect with somebody on a level like that, it can be hard to come by. For me it is. I mean,
yeah,
it's not really so much a matter of time, it's a matter of, are there that many people that you really click that well with?
you know, I actually believe that it may be possible with everyone. I think it's easier with some people than it is with others. And she and I were just, it's like we vibrated at the same level.
Right.
And that just made it easy. I've had deep, intimate, connecting relationships with other people, but it hasn't been the same. And I don't know I'm not sure why.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I relate to that too. Some people I can agree with what he said. It takes a whole lot of work to feel that. But with some people, it just seems like it comes so easy.
And those are the people that you want to spend the time with.
I had an email come through a few weeks ago, and I've only tried this with a couple of people, but it sounds too far out. But if you really want to get to know someone, you don't stare, but have eye contact, like for 5 minutes.
I saw
it. Did you read that? And you can get to know them. In this one class, they did it with total strangers, and they did it with a couple that've been married for 51 years. And I mean, they've experienced a closeness that they had never experienced in the 51 years. You know, the total strangers. I mean, there's an acceptance of each other. But, I think that's what I want to go back and read that.
I was on a Buddhist retreat a few years ago where we did an exercise. They paired us up and you sat knee to knee, nose to nose with somebody, and you just made eye contact and looked into each other's eyes for 45 minutes of silence.
Wow.
And it was one of the most profound experiences I've ever had in my entire life. Somebody you'd never met before.
Yeah.
And it was just life-changing. In that sense,
I have to say,
incredible.
I wanted to share, that was my husband and I's wedding. That's what we did for our wedding. Is that we're longtime Buddhist practitioners and meditation people. So all we did was sit and eye gaze for 45 minutes. It was tough. It was, but it was very powerful. I remember it very vividly. And I was the one who was the crying mess. He was the rock. But that was an omen. But it is a powerful exercise. But I love hearing people talk about it.
I wanted to do it on our retreat last summer, but everyone was like, no, most people can't tolerate even 5 minutes of that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they can't tolerate more than 3 minutes of silence in meditation either until they do.
Right.
So, right. I think we should try that on our next retreat.
All right, we will.
I did that with a woman who was very, very spiritual, but we did it, and it literally, it was like killing her just to do 5 minutes. She couldn't, Ruby, she couldn't look at me, she couldn't, you know, and we were friends. It was just interesting, you know. So, all depends on consciousness. I'm assuming you're doing consciousness?
Willingness and openness too. I mean, even if you're not comfortable, your willingness to be open and go beyond that and see what the experience is. Just have an experiment. Be in that moment. Yeah.
Okay. You don't have this, so you're going to have to listen to me and remember this. And then I want us to say this together. First of all, and this is kind of what we've been talking about, this is a quote from Ram Dass. We're all just walking each other home. We're all just walking each other home. All right. I'll share this affirmation with you, and then I want us to say it together several times. I am the Christ, whole and perfect. I am the Christ, and all is well. You forgot that, my long-distance people? I am the Christ, whole and perfect. I am the Christ, and all is well. Let's say this together about 3 times, okay? I am the Christ.
I am the Christ, whole and perfect. I am the Christ, all is well.
I think we have a little...
I am.
Yeah, you're in a different time zone, but that's okay.
There's a delayed reaction. I can't hear anything when everybody talks.
All right, one more time. I am the Christ.
I am the Christ, whole and perfect. I am the Christ.
All is well.
All is well.
Donna, it is for sure that we will not be backup singers for you.
Oh, man, a bummer.
The words that
I will.
are excellent.
I would like it. I would love it.
All right.
Are we going to say it one more time?
Yeah, let's
Twin.
in. I am the Christ.
I'm the Christ,
Perfect.
whole and perfect. I am the Christ. All is well.
All right. I know a lot of you are taking quite a few classes this week, so you juggle some things the best that you can, but I really want you to ponder the oneness that you have with Spirit, and think about that idea of love. All right, now I'm assuming you folks have the course syllabus. Karen, did you pick this up when you were down?
Yes, I have it.
All right.
I don't have it. I'm bad. I don't have it.
No, don't beat yourself up. Not allowed to beat yourself up.
Okay.
All right. We are dealing with chapters 19 through 25, okay? So we'll do a quick review of 19 tomorrow, and 19 and 20. We're just going to make sure that by Friday we get to chapter 25, okay? So you look over them. It's a lot of things that it's not new and different. You've heard about all of these things. You've read about these things when you read the Daily Word. I mainly want us to talk about where we are with our feelings. How do we get out of this, the physical world that has such a great impact on us? How do we get more to our spiritual oneness? So that's what we're going to kind of be dealing with all this week. Okay. All right. Any comments from you folks?
You said a whole
All right. Karen, Carla, Donna, Jenny, would any one of you like to open our class tomorrow with a meditation or a reading or a prayer? There's nothing like putting you on the spot, huh?
Thank you, Jenny.
Jenny said yes.
Oh, Jenny said yes, huh? All right, you're on, Jenny, for tomorrow. Okay, and what about Wednesday? Somebody here? Anybody want to open our class?
Oh.
Okay. Then Robin on Wednesday, and then we'll pick a couple others. All right, any questions? Any questions, long distance people? Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank
Blessings
you.
to each of you.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Happy reading Romans.
A little workbook, they applying it. What is that really worth getting, and how would we use that compared to this?
Here, I tell you what, take a look at it.
Okay.
You know, there are some things,
I don't remember if I've gotten it from other classes or not. I don't know. Have we?
I'll tell you what I like about it. Is not so much, well, the workbook, depending, yeah, it is good because you can put it, but I love the answer key.
Oh,
Because the answer key is really a summary of the chapter here. So take a look at it. The dark gray, that's the answer key. You know, I have mixed feelings. These books are so expensive.
any one particular one isn't bad. When you look at a whole list, it's a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely.
When you're still recording.
Oh, well, that's okay, Jenny. Jeez.
I just thought I'd let you know.
Well, we won't turn you off, Jenny, but we're talking about books. So, yeah, any of, I only,
Oh, I like the examples in it.
yes, yeah.
That's cool. Like this never happens. You have recurring thoughts about an extremely unsatisfactory interaction with the coworker. That never happens to anybody.
Sure, no. All right. Okay, I've got to figure out how to turn this off.
You click
Nothing
on that-
personal, Jenny.
You click on the side thing again until it comes up, and then the little red button will say stop recording.
Jeez.
No worries.
The little side thing.
Yeah, where the green on the side, you've got the,
Yeah, but
There.
the recording was someplace else, wasn't it?
right, you need to open that up so that you have the whole thing on the screen. Right now it's minimized.
How do I open this up?
Just, I think you were on.
There should be 2 arrows.
Show all
Oh, the arrows.
There you go. Okay, so
All
now the red
right,
button on the
okay.
bottom says stop recording.
Oh, all of our profound thoughts are